Hey guys, it's me Ad744. Today, guys, I'm going to talk to you guys the the fundamental problems with Barcelona, and this is a very in-depth video. Like, this is a video that's very in-depth. I'm going to go as in-depth as I can, and this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time now, and this has been a hot topic for me, and we really need to address this sooner or later. Now, I'm not really exactly sure when this video is going to come out. And for the current upload schedule, here's how it's looking. So Monday, I did my club predictions. Tuesday, I did my international predictions. Wednesday, you guys can expect to see the match preview for Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid at the Supercopa de España. And Thursday, I will have my match review. And then Friday is the day I'm open. The thing is, though, there's like, if we get to the final of the Supercopa de España, then there'll be two. Then I'm not really sure how that'll work out, because then we have to like bring on I'm not really sure how that's going to work. And then there's a Granada one. So there'll be two match previews, and that could take place Friday or Saturday. So one of these days, you could see a double review. And then Sunday, of course, there's two match reviews. And then unfortunately, I have a big certification test coming up. So it's very weird, the video schedule. I'm trying to make these as early as I can, so that's why I'm recording videos ahead of time, and that's why the video will come out later. So I'm not really sure how everything's going to be like, and I'm trying to stay for the certification. Of course, I got to do my homework, and then I got to attend school, and then of course I got to play, and I got to take some break, and then got to be calm, there's so much stuff for me to do, and so let's go ahead and get this quickly started. So I'm going to have this video probably the earliest, maybe. We'll see you on Friday. This video you can expect on Friday. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, let's go into the first problem I'm seeing with Barcelona. Substitutions. Substitutions, man. For some odd reason, substitutions have been a very difficult spot for us. We haven't been able to figure out what substitutions work for us. Specifically, Ernesto Valverde. And I can give you guys some notable examples, okay? Let's talk about the last game against Espanyol. This is probably the most recent and probably the most reliable one. So, I understand bringing on Arturo Vidal. That was a really good substitution that really changed the game in our favor. But here's a substitution I didn't like. He took off Antoine Griezmann and put on Nelson Semedo. Now, I understand that we were light in the midfield and you wanted to get some more midfielders in. But if you think about it, we were down to 10 men. We really couldn't have sacrificed that. We needed a striker, most importantly. And we weren't even through. And with the way Espanyol were like, they brought in Wu Li, keep in mind. And they were really intent on scoring. So wouldn't you in the right mind, if you had to make a substitution, why would you substitute Antoine Griezmann? Because Antoine Griezmann always brings you defensive capabilities. He can bring some kind of defensive capabilities. While Suarez and Messi don't really offer anything defensively speaking. I think we can all agree with that. And Griezmann offers a little bit. And that little bit is more vital. And to me, Sergio Roberto works very well as a right back. I love Sergio Roberto as a right back. He's doing a really tremendous job. And Nelson Semedo, not to throw any shade, not to throw any being mean or anything like that, he hasn't really done it for me. I haven't really been impressed with Nelson Semedo. He hasn't given a lot of crosses. He hasn't given a lot of chances. And I just think Nelson Semedo is prone to making mistakes. I just think that's part of his thing. And I think Sergio Roberto in the long term offers you so much more than Nelson Semedo. And perhaps he isn't used correctly. Maybe it's just he's not interested in Barcelona. Maybe Nelson Semedo, Sergio Roberto is doing an incredible job that we're even oblivious to him, and that whatever the case is, I think Sergio Roberto should be our long-term right back. I don't think I like that. I hate the idea of putting him in the midfield because that deteriorates him, and that pretty much allowed for Espanyol to equalize. And it wasn't completely all Valverde's fault. I will admit that Lenglet also had some blame too, and of course Jordi Alba, obviously. You could even put on Gerard Piqué as well, and basically, I feel like the game after the red card, I feel like the game was completely in control Espanyol, and they finally made use of that substitution, Wu Li, and you see how big its crowd and how everyone was excited, and While this didn't change their standings, it brought them moral confidence. It brought them confidence and belief that they could actually not get relegated, you know. And so the substitutions for me, I don't know why, it's never been something that Ernesto Valverde has ever been able to do successfully, generally speaking, usually. And then another famous example, in the Liverpool game, we were down 3-0. Then Ernesto Valverde decided to make his first substitution. What? Okay, I'm going to be completely straight and honest with you guys. Imagine me, okay? Let's do this hypothetical scenario, okay? Imagine me and someone else, okay? Let's say, I don't know. I was fighting with my friend. We were doing like little... Let's say I was going against my rival, okay? My rival severely beaten me up. Severely beaten me up. And to the point where I'm nearly about to die. And there's time, I'm almost time ref. And I decide, for some reason, I'm going to take the I'm going to take this little thing that recovers my health or whatever, this drug or pill or whatever. I'm kind of making up some stuff so you guys can get an illusion. Basically, this is all hypothetical. This isn't real. But basically what I'm trying to say is that it just doesn't make sense. Why am I waiting this long? Why didn't I do it when I'm like, I don't know, when it was break time? You know, that would have been the most ideal. What do you think, or don't you guys think, when you're 1-0 down at halftime, and you realize that the Liverpool team is fully packed, they fully packed themselves, and you see how big they score when they scored at Anfield. And Anfield is always those European nights. For some odd reason, Valverde didn't even make a substitution. I don't know why. I don't know why we should have made a substitution at halftime. I think it would have been the perfect time to do so. Because really with 60 minutes, I think it's too late. It really is too late. And yes, we could technically still go through. But the thing is though, you saw how the players felt after conceding that third goal. They felt as if they lost the game. Like, with the way the confidence was like, they didn't look confident at all. And they looked like as they looked already lost. And despite the fact they weren't eliminated yet until Origi's goal in the 79th minute, they technically were still in the battle for majority of the game. And yet they felt as if they were defeated the majority of the game, which seems very odd because they weren't actually eliminated until after the 79th minute. And even still, they could have potentially done it even still because they still could have scored an away goal. We still could have lost 4-1 and still we would have gone through miraculously because we would have just advanced with one away goal in our favor. Could you believe it, guys? If we had just scored one and we would have been thrashed 4-1, we would have still gone through. Like, come on, like I don't know why. And it's something that's been a built-in philosophy for us is that away games in general has been a terrible atmosphere. I don't know why away games has been truly horrific. We can't ever deliver, and I think we get intimidated. I think for some reason, away games just isn't our friend. And I understand that our home form will always be better, but we can't expect our home form to deliver for us. We really cannot. I know this is getting a little off tangent, but basically I'm trying to say it's a substitution. But this is kind of the second problem. I guess the second problem is the general atmosphere in the away games. Is that we don't really play that well, and it's very definitive. And before Ernesto Valverde was in charge, I think, speaking wise, there was never really an issue with away games in general. We never were that bad at away from home, and generally speaking, we were good at home or away. It didn't really make a difference with Pep Guardiola or Luis Enrique, you know. And so it's tough to understand. I understand that our home form will always be superior. I understand that a team is more likely to win at home than away from home. However, with all that being said, we should still be able to win away from home against teams that are like not our par. Like teams aren't even in the Champions League or even have a remote chance. Like, I understand we may lose to Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu or Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano. You know, I understand those. Valencia, even you could put in maybe Sevilla. But really, we really shouldn't be drawing against Espanyol. We shouldn't really be drawing against Leganes. We shouldn't really be losing those kind of teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, these teams are not as strong as us, and even with us being weak, we should still be able to beat them. Now, I will admit, though, Espanyol played really well. And I think the reason why they played well was because of the fact they had the new manager. The new manager bounce probably saved them. And it was the worst time we played Espana. I'll admit that too. But anyways, back to the game. Back to the away game. For some odd reason, we just cannot deliver an away game. And I just don't understand why. What is up with away games? Is away games that terrible? And it's something that I find very frustrating because we can easily be destroying any team. Like, I think these crop of players are so talented that with Pep Guardiola or any brilliant tactician coach, we can seriously be a real force. And maybe we could even have been a thing in the Champions League. People would have been intimidated by us. And the thing is, the away games, we are not intimidated at all. In fact, I feel like we are intimidated. And I think, I don't know, it's more of a psychological thing, and I'm not really a psychologist person, unfortunately. But my guess is the psychology has been traumatizing us, and maybe we have this fear that if we don't deliver well away, maybe it's a fear that we play so well at home is that we can't really do it anywhere else because we're so used to it. We're so used to the playing atmosphere. And the thing is, the home fans will always be enroaching. They will always be powerful, and maybe that's the problem, is that the home fans are too much for the away fans. But I still think, like, these small teams, home or away, shouldn't make much of a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like these teams that are in the first division, that are close to the mid-table, we should be able to take care of these teams on a regular basis. I mean, you see Liverpool doing it, you see Man City doing it, you see Real Madrid doing it. Why can't we do it? So, the away games, it's been a huge issue. Huge issue, to say. And of course, next up is the midfield. The midfield just isn't really creative. I'm really hate to break it to you guys, but I don't really see anything versatile or anything game changing with the midfield. And I think primarily the reason why the reason why we haven't been as successful as we wanted to be is because our midfield hasn't really been up to par. We don't really see anything fresh. And I think the reason why Real Madrid really played so well as of lately is because their midfield is so dynamic. They have Cruz, they have Modric, they got Casemiro, they got Valverde. They have numerous amount of options midfield-wise. While we don't really have much options, we really have like 5. Even with 5 now, we got Arturo Vidal, Sergio Busquets, not Carlos Alenia, my bad. Ricky Puig, who isn't really given much of a chance, and then Arthur, who's injured, and then Frankie de Jong, and then Sergio Busquets, and then Rakitic. In all fairness, I think Frankie de Jong is the most creative. Arthur is really creative too, I'll admit that right now. Sergio Busquets isn't really creative. I'll say that. Ricky Puig, I think he is creative. And so I think these are the 3 we need to go with. But unfortunately, Arthur's out injured. Ricky Puig is the Barcelona B team. And for some odd reason, Valverde doesn't trust the youth. And it's been a huge problem. And maybe this kind of ties link, I guess, on number 3 and 4, I guess you can say, is that midfield lacks creativity, and of course Valverde doesn't really trust the youth. I'll get to the youth part a little later, but I'm going to talk more so about the creativity, in that we don't really deliver anything. Rakitic doesn't really deliver much as well. He doesn't really give you much of a flair, and just passing isn't enough to be a complete midfielder. You have to do more than you got to make brilliant passes. You got to see the ball from vision. You got to make brilliant crosses. You have to give a lot of assists, okay? And your game cannot just be, okay, I'll just pass it to you, you pass it to me, and I'll pass forwards. You can't just pass forwards and backwards. You got to pass sideways. You got to be risky. And that's the thing I don't feel like we have. We don't really have much of that. We have Frankie de Jong, but he can't really do it all by himself. You need 2 or 3 players to really maximize the effort and the maximid and to show. Because I think front 3-wise, I think our attacking is great, defense is great, goalkeeper is great. The midfield is the worst part, and with the average midfield, any team can pass through. Any team can break through the midfield, and any team can break through the midfield. And with so many players, the defenders can't stop them, and they usually score. That's why I believe we've been conceding a lot of goals, is because the midfield has been very, very unstable, and we haven't had our creativity players. We haven't had very dynamic players. We haven't had players like Xavi or Iniesta in the realms, and we don't have those kind of players anymore. thus meaning that we haven't done well. Okay, so I think this is the reason why we've been conceding a lot of goals too, is because of the midfield indirectly. I think the midfield indirectly is responsible for us conceding so many goals this season. Not just the defenders. Of course, they have their blame too, but I think the midfielders deserve some blame as well. Okay. And then, of course, the youth. Valverde doesn't really trust the youth. In fact, he admitted he would have never have played Ansu Fati if Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez were not injured. And guess what, guys? Had Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez not been injured, had they been fit, we would not have seen Ansu Fati at all. We may not have even seen him. We may not have even seen Carlos Perez. We may not have even seen these La Masia people. And could you believe this club has now turned into a financial club? This club, I don't really think. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this club, but I think this club has changed its motto. I don't think the motto is Meskunen Club. It really is, and one of the things that Barca has been always known for is the youth. And for me, Valverde doesn't really trust it. In fact, he doesn't bring on Riqui Puig. In fact, it's so clear that he didn't even bring on Riqui Puig in the Inter Milan. Like, come on. And he tried to bring in, like, he brought Musa Wage because Sergio Roberto and Nelson Semedo were both, I think Nelson Semedo was injured, Sergio Roberto was suspended, so he had to put him there. And it's frustrating for me that he hasn't given much time to the youth. And with the youth not being developed, that doesn't mean we're not looking. That means we can't look at the future. I mean, a lot of these players are aging. Like, a lot of these players are at, like, their 30s, man. And can you believe that we haven't even given much chances to youth yet? I think it's unbelievable. We haven't done much rotation. And some of these guys, man, they're being overworked. And some of these guys need to be playing. And finally, number 5 is this has been a huge issue of mine. And this has been something I've noticed for a long time now. Is that we never play well. We never play well for the entire game. I don't know why. We always, even when we play decent, we only play good for like maybe 45 minutes. Maybe 60 minutes. And it's very clear. Let's go on top of the Borussia Dortmund game, because to me that was one of the best games I've ever seen for Barcelona. And the second half, majority of the second half, they cooled off. And Dortmund, because of Barcelona cooling off, Dortmund took advantage of that, and that's why they got to go back. And even in games we dominated, with us winning 5-0, with us scoring 5, the opponent can get some consolation goals because of the fact that we keep resting too much. We keep we don't play well for the entire 90 minutes. And this has been something that I don't understand why we don't do this. Why don't we ever try to do something for the entire duration of the game? Why do we try to do this until, like, I don't know, maybe the end of the game? You know? And it's something that I've been so frustrated with, because to me, this is something that we can easily address. You know? We need to keep hydrated for the 90 minutes, because this is, if you can't even play well for like 90 minutes against against any team, it doesn't even matter who the opponent is, then how are we supposed to on earth win the Champions League? And this is something we need to address, and I don't understand why. And it's even in games we dominate, we still have some periods where we're still kind of cooling off, or like just allowing for the other team to get back. And we can't really do that very often. I understand sometimes we can do that. You know, I understand that sometimes it's okay for us not to be dominating the entire game. I know it's possible. But I feel like we never really done that. I feel like with Valverde, you never really get the feel that with Barcelona dominating, they aren't really 100% dominant. They're maybe dominating the scoreline, but they aren't really dominating anything else. And so that's been a huge issue of mine, and something that I cannot stand, and I don't know why we haven't addressed this at all. Alright. So that's it for today. Let me know what you guys think below, because some of these issues, man, these are big, big issues. And I try to be as precise as I can, and I try to be as concrete as I can. This has been a 20-minute video for you guys. So let me know what you think, guys, below. And let me know if you need to be more in-depth, because maybe I was a little too short with the others, and maybe I went a little too in-depth for the first one. You could argue. And let me go ahead and paraphrase for substitutions, because substitutions are made. It's either A, too late, or it makes no difference. You know? I forgot to mention that. I meant that. So, like I said, guys, it's been a really difficult time. I'm really hoping that this is the last season we see this guy in charge because, trust me, guys, we need someone fresh. I need someone new. We need someone to bring us titles because titles for me is where how we define success. And with Barcelona being one of the best clubs in the world, supposedly, you cannot just rely on individual brilliance to save you. Because to me, we have been saved just because of individual quality with these guys. But we haven't really hit our stride as a team, which is a big problem, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, guys. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments section below. Peace out.